Hello my dear friends, this is PaintyKat. My name is Catherine. Today we're going to paint a landscape with a wild rosemary and a waterfall. And this is a demonstration version of tutorial, short one, where we can talk about main details and things we have to keep in memory while we creating this landscape. If you want to paint with me in a real time, in an actual speed, welcome on my Patreon, subscribe me there. Real-time tutorial taking 2 hours, so this is not the short one, I'd say, but this not hard to create, to be honest. Just, lots of details we gonna combine in so tiny canvas. This is a canvas stretched on a frame, but also possible to create this landscape on a canvas on board or on a paper. I'd recommend to use a paper textured as a canvas. This way result gonna be the closest to the painting I will create today. Size, it's a 20 centimeters each side. Brushes and tools, of course we need palette. As a medium I will use just a water today. Mostly we will go for thick consistency, for half dry consistency of acrylic, and only for tiny details, for tiny brushes we will use more watery consistency, but again we will use just a simple water. Right now I started with a flat brush. It's just a normal flat brush from the set of 12 brushes. Links for materials, my friends, you can find in a description box. You can follow link. I put it there for you, and you can find all materials I'm using today. Acrylic, of course, I'd like to recommend to you professional one because, colors brighter, colors more gentle, I'd say, and result, of course, really depends from the high quality materials we using. We started from the background. We have no sky today, no blue background at all, so very far from us. Imagine it's like stones, it's maybe like a piece of mountain there, but we created very soft, very gentle, with lots of white and black there. No saturations colors on the background at all. Right now we're going on the painting level, and after we created stones, it's like 5 centimeters stripe on top of the canvas, and we created it with vertical stripes. After we moving to the area of water, and here we changing directions for brush strokes on an opposite way. It's a horizon moves all the time. Just follow the motion of the water. Try with all your brush strokes. Try to give those feelings of objects you want to create. If it's a petals, we gonna create flowers today, we will follow the lines of petals. If it's a water, it's the same. If it's water in a waterfall, the same. We will follow the line of falling water. Colors, all colors in details I will comment in a real-time tutorial. Here I wanna tell you just the most colors we're gonna use. It's black and white, of course. As a greens, you will definitely need 2 kind of greens, warm one and a cold one. As a warm I used green medium, and as a cold one I used tallow green. If you have know this shade, you can go for emerald. Just important to include cold tone green in this composition, because as a red flowers we will use a lots of pink, deep pink. So cold and a cold tone colors will combine really beautiful in one composition. For foreground, you can feel here like ochre light and umber burnt, because here we will have just a tiny layer of water and the stones will be visible through it. So basically it's a color on the painting level, it's a color of future sand and stones. On the left corner down there, it's a grass, for future grass, and also it's gonna be the deepest area of the blooming bush. While the rosemary, so there you can find future green grass, I'd say, so dark colors of green, and also, which is most important, on underpainting level here we already have to put deep rose combining together with carmine. Why it's so? Because red colors can be half translucent, and of course we want bright and beautiful and saturated flowers. If you will have a green that giving you some tiny color from underpainting, you will probably have to put thick layer of pink. That's okay, or you will have to add like a white, in a pink to make coverage better. But also nice already have a pink, deep pink as a underpainting level. It will give more juicy colors in the end. Also on the front line you can notice those rough brushstrokes. This is a future stone. We will find a right balance between beautiful waterfall on a background, but those waterfall have to sit on a background. This is the most important. When you creating contrasted like white details on the background, it jumping on us on a front line, we don't need it. So we will make a balance better by using more contrasted details on a foreground, as it's stones and it's gonna be white on a petals. Also here on this tutorial I will share to you how to control shapes of objects. It's possible to fix, it's possible to correct when we going from the inside to outside. Like imagine you want to create bush, so you can go with lighter details like lighter leaves outside, grabbing areas around, but also it's possible to correct shapes from outside to the inside using colors from the stones around. So here I want to share just the basic steps about it. You can so I just created round shaped bush and I fixed shape of it, created like more interesting one by shading with the colors of the stones from around. About waterfall, I believe here can be a question. My dear friends, all steps about waterfall, those technique I'm gonna use today, I already shared to you on a previous tutorial on my channel. It's a forest waterfall one, and I really highly recommend to you take a look on it, follow this tutorial, or at least watch a demo version of it, short one. So there, waterfall was the main theme of a landscape, and we paid the most attention of those technique. Here we practice it more, so yes, we include this detail, this technique in a smaller one, tinier one, but of course it's gonna be a tricky if you do not saw technique before, right? And by the way, I rarely include techniques I didn't share to you in the previous tutorials in this complicating landscape as we have today. Many details all in one. So In general, we already created underpainting level with the color of stones, behind the water, falling water, and falling water we create with a half dry white and all our moves following the motion of the water, just the motion of the stream. This is the main idea. No any tiny splashes there, no dots, nothing, because it's really too far and it can ruin the move of the water there, so please don't put any dots. I know it's a kind of popular trick, but it will not fit well here. About reflection. Reflection we create with just vertical brush strokes, and again consistency half dry. This way brush taking not that many acrylic on it and spreading not too long, brush strokes not too long, covering not well those underpainting level we created before, so it's giving us a fact like we have something that reflected in water, but reflection kinda soft. Again, all details about reflection here, small islands on the left and the right, you can find in a real tutorial, real-time tutorial. About tiny stones on a foreground. It's interesting details, and it can look tricky from the start, but it's really easy if we go, just step by step. Steps here, easy. First, it's a right choose of brush. Brush have to be shaped as the stones you want to create, so it's a flat and oval, right? Oval stones with no sharp edges, those we usually find in water, right? Color green. It's a warm green with a touch of ochre and also can be touch of umber burnt, because imagine it's a stone color like a brown one, cover it with a blue water. It's giving nice green tone somewhere there. Also, it can be water plants that cover some of stones, and it's also giving green color. So yeah, green color sitting there nicely. Big stones on the front line and a smaller going deeper in water. As soon as we put brush strokes as stones, future stones, we going with a dark color all around each stone. So lots of work, but I already told you, real-time tutorial taking 2 hours. Not hard to follow, but lots details to create. Go one by one, go around each one. On a front area you have to be more accurate, but if you go in deeper in the water, like in a middle ground, you have to be not that accurate, and a color will be greener and greener, and in a line when you touch a green water it became dark called green. I used phthalo green. As soon as this detail's done, we have to put the main detail here, and the main role here will play a bush of wild rosemary. I tried to search how it's calling. It have so many titles, different titles, and it's also have a title named Azalea and a rhododendron, but it's a special, like a kind of it, because if you will search for azalea, it's usually a small plant in pot like that, but this one, wild rosemary, it's a bush. Sometimes it can be a huge, bigger than me, for example. We have these plants in a botanical garden, so I saw it in a wild nature. And in a springtime, this bush have no green leaves and only beautiful pink flowers blooming on it. So it's close to sakura, right? Because those Chinese plum also blooming with no green leaves. This bush basically the same. It's have no smell, by the way, which I like about it. My mom bring it when I was a young kid. The bouquet was looking as a broom in a vase, and I was very doubting about it's gonna turn to the beautiful bouquet, but it's just a 3 or 5 day past, and first flowers was showing themselves to me. Oh, I was so surprised, by the way. So yeah, beautiful bush. We following one by one, petal by petal. Also, I share how to in a real tutorial. I share how to include a tiny bit of twig color into the bud shaped areas. And as soon as you put as many petals and buds you like, we creating tiny twigs connecting pink spots, pink petals into the twigs and branches. Be careful with amount of buds and petals. You have to keep empty areas everywhere between big groups or buds and petals. You have to keep this landscape transparent, like through the bush we still have to be able to see background behind, landscape behind. If you will put too many flowers, we will lose landscape behind, so be careful. One by one, kind of meditative process, true, and also why a real-time tutorial kind of long, because we have to be careful. We have to step back time by time and check if petals on the right places. That is the most important. After we connected petals and flowers into the twigs, we also create branches inside of the base of the bush. You can notice, by the way, here on the left corner I didn't put any bright flowers at all. Right now it's like a mass of pink, deep pink brush strokes, and on top of it I'm creating lines of future branches. Hair color can be kind of deep. You can include lots of black, or you can go with just black if you like to. Just keep in your mind, we will cross with a bright and a light petals those branches on top. So as soon as we created all branches inside, we like to let it dry just a little bit. We don't want any brown mixed into the fresh pink color of flowers on top, right? So let it dry and go again one by one, not too many, but enough to give a nice value to the bush. Interesting moment. Even if flowers here on a foreground, beautiful, detailed, have a sharp edges on the petals, it's still not taking attention from the white waterfall on a background. True, because white giving really high contrast, right? So let's give more white to the sum of flowers, and let's switch attention of our viewer on a foreground. We don't have to change background for it. Let's just give some interesting details to our flowers. One by one, I added beautiful white edges to the sum of flowers, mostly on a center part of the bush, but also its stamens, lots and lots. In a wild nature, this bush of wild rosemary looking even fluffy, cause so many stamens there. Brush. I really recommend to get line brush with a long bristle because it's giving long lines. Consistency of white. For line brushes, you have to get more watery line brushes, not painting well with a dry acrylic, hot dry acrylic. Here I also added a tiny stone on the right side. On a foreground, it's just a nice detail, and also because of white, it's taking attention from the waterfall on a background. All we have to do right now, as soon as all flowers, stamens and dots done, stones also done, let's just add 1 or 2 big waves, spread it left and right, and we will add smaller waves. Waves are not too big, so don't put any shadows under the line of the wave. It's like mostly folds of the water that going from the waterfall, but not a huge waves as we have on a sea, right? So don't put any deep color under the white lines. Painting is done. Don't forget to put your sign on painting. My dear friends, welcome on Patreon. There you can find this tutorial in an actual speed. If you still have any questions, you can ask me here on the comments. I will answer it as soon as possible. Also, don't be shy to share to me your paintings following my tutorials through Facebook, wall of Patreon, and Instagram, #PaintyKat. And of course, subscribe my channel. We will have more interesting tutorials in the future. It was a PaintyKat, and I wish you all the best. Bye bye.